when George Weah won the Ballon d'Or, George Weah had never played in the AFCON. When his attention was drawn to the fact that the AFCON is a major tournament.
Yeah.
Then he said, really?
Back
I would have used the back of my hand. Come on, stop it. You foolish.
CAF doesn't give the best player award to Messi. They give it to African players.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Mallam Goal Podcast. Good to be back on the show. I've missed you guys, man. How are you doing, Coach?
You've been gallivanting all over the
Yeah. But you see, it's essential gallivanting.
Where is my share?
Your share off.
You've been gallivanting.
Yes.
Last week when I called you, you said you were having a meeting in what?
Adan.
It brought no cash.
It did not bring cash.
And that was a very useless meeting. What are you talking about? How can you go?
But not every meeting will bring money.
I beg you, yeah.
Immediately.
I leave.
Immediately.
And now you are not talking. You are not
Some
talking.
meetings are investment meetings.
So I should wait till the investment
Yes.
mature.
When the money comes, there will be signs.
So then you are talking.
Yes.
What you say nothing? How can nothing? What do you mean by nothing? How nothing?
When it comes,
Look,
there will be signs.
you drove there, isn't it?
Down there, you
You
drive.
took your car there.
I didn't drive. The person took me.
Just wasted your time like that.
Oh,
The
God.
kids how they talk there, they laugh.
But you
I've
know they
told
laugh.
you for stop.
You know they laugh.
No, even you there.
I'm just happy to be back on the podcast. The first week, though, I was in Sunyani with Betway.
You went to Sunyani. That one is understood. It is understood.
Yes.
With Betway.
Yeah.
That one is
Betway
understood.
is in the Sun City now.
That's brilliant.
We are in the Sun City, Coach. They've put together a brilliant space there, and we are coming there to record an episode.
They should carry all of us.
Oh, they said they were going to carry all
And
of
you
us to
should make
Sunyani.
sure that they should
When
not
I
just
went
carry
there,
us.
the boys, Sunyani people, they listen to the podcast.
They should not
When
just carry us.
Everybody say, hey, where's Danny K? Where's Inna Man? Where's Coach Nimley? With
They should not just carry us.
They don't know I choose name.
Inna.
Inna Man. Where is it?
Inna.
He say, oh, did you come with the Inna Man? Inna Man. So,
Look, it is lack.
yeah, who come?
He
Who
dey
come?
lack, eh?
Who come?
Why you get some gifts be where you go fit see.
They won't talk about.
But how do you know?
How did we move from?
If I the worker, who say Uhumba na manager. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
That's
very
right.
I
aware.
a gift and I mean,
That's right.
This time, Kranti Humba. No, me niaje, no, me ni nam.
He dey torment you.
Yeah, if I, it's a gift.
It's a gift.
Yes.
So I mean,
Unexplained happiness. Then he
damn,
knows
man,
where
but
it's
this-
coming from.
Damn, oh Kranti, oh Lord, oh.
Oh, Lord Jesus.
Kranti, nine, them support.
Nanyan.
But when they get to this man, then I ball. I guess they walk a ball. But this guy, why is he taking my happiness away from me?
The whole bar now in the edge.
Uhumba na manager.
Tune your antenna well.
Uhumba,
Tune your antenna well.
baby.
Tune your antenna
Na me no can say, oh say 2 weeks now.
Oh, namely.
2 weeks there, Wale. Them are the
Unmarried man.
say, oh no. You know you talk me. These are the candidates that you want to talk.
What?
You see, they explore.
Let's start the podcast.
Why I talk am
You
say?
will put me in trouble. And
You are a good Christian.
You have to stop that.
Let's start the
You are
podcast.
a good Christian.
Mhm.
There are children watching this podcast.
So the Sunyani there, when we go, I'm telling Betway, they cannot just take us there like that.
We have to spend a couple of
They
days.
have to ensure that by the time we leave there, this man is settled.
He has a flower.
Because they are proper. Damn, man, the babes there.
Hey, Sunyani.
Oh,
They be there.
look, I've been there twice. I had to hide myself. Quick. Or else Mrs.
You didn't want to be tempted.
Mrs. Nino have problem.
She have what?
Mrs.
Problem.
You have problem.
She have problem.
Mrs. Quickly, you have big problem.
I had to go straight back into the hotel and
Man,
sleep.
know thyself.
Every man is carried away by what he does. What he sees. So if I don't see, I'm cool.
No problem.
Like
If
you've
you
been
don't
seeing
see.
something. this footballer who before, whenever the Champions League anthem is played and he's lining up. Who's that? Ronaldinho.
Yeah.
And that day,
Accept it.
when you do that, you know what happens.
Nimble is just creating scenarios in
Oh,
Look, it's because I care for you.
Oh, God.
I need you to be happy.
Mhm.
Make coach happy.
My happiness depends on you being happy.
That's right.
So when you're making me sad,
And how do
it's
we
a
say that in Chi?
Oh. Ohumba na manage.
Oh God! Anyway, guys, I'm just happy. I'm just happy to be back, man. But you're right. There's Sunyani there. The baby girls. Damn,
Damn, man.
Don't go there.
damn, man.
That
We
day,
will be back.
I'll have to triple my ring. I will, can't I have to add two more to this so that it will be boring. When we are talking, I'll be doing this. You are free. So all of us will be doing like this. Then you say, damn, this is the target. Everybody will come to us. There you come, we'll help you to select.
Mm.
But when we are coming back to Accra, Betway will bring her to Accra.
That's right.
Finish.
Uh-huh.
Go and see the father quick.
Then
You
you
Well,
start.
we'll sort you out.
Not everyone wants to be brought from. Some people want to just interact, whatever the.
We'll speak for you. If you cannot speak, we will speak. Minimal taste. Last week you've told us your taste. You were here when he told
you
us.
don't
taste.
understand what he said.
What is he saying?
He said he wants to go there, go and have fun and come back. That's what he said.
You don't want to bring.
I said some people don't want to be brought.
What do you want?
Thank
It
you.
depends on
That's
what
the
I
question.
What
depends
do
on
you
what I
want?
No, it depends on what I see.
And we know your taste.
We know, but we know your.
So you'll be spoiled for choice.
a shock.
You pick one, then we bring that one home. Look, there's
Yeah.
some dignity to protect you. You cannot be. You have to.
I'm not like that. See, you're.
Okay, you Uncle.
Let's start a podcast. This is slander.
It's
I'm
not
not-
slander. This is free
I'm not-
advice.
No.
What
the
is the
advice
advice
is-
though?
The advice is good, but the
Look,
explore part.
I sat
I'm not.
on TV
Mm.
and I told this man, you better marry.
Mm-hmm.
I told this man on TV, oh, just like we are doing, you better marry. You are wasting somebody's precious time. You are taking away my happiness. And I told him, this will have to be regular for me to be happy when I. So that day that day I was.
What has to be regular?
Good train. Good train. And you know, his wife now, at the time, the potential wife, she was watching. The moment we finished the program, she called me, Coach, thank you. Coach, thank you. Coach, thank you. Coach, thank you for making
much
this
information.
Thank you.
He was wasting her
You
time.
are wasting the lady's time. I said, Coach, Coach, thank you. So, do you know that the lady and his wife, she doesn't joke with me. Oh.
That's right.
She calls me uncle.
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 Uncle Chris.
Uncle Chris. I say, yes.
If
my
he jokes,
daughter.
they took him.
A shock. So look, it's the same advice to a very good bosom friend.
Everything is cool.
Why are you
A
laughing?
very good one.
But
Bosom
you look at
friend.
yourself when you are doing these things.
Bosom friend.
You look at yourself when you are doing these things.
What do you do?
It's really
I'm
impossible.
telling you facts.
It's impossible not to laugh.
Anyway.
No, but the guy, he has to control himself.
My neck already hurts.
The guy has to control himself. I mean, look, viewers, you should be, because of the way he laughs, I cannot give you more info. You have to control yourself.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. He's a very good bosom.
Bosom friend, and I'm advising you.
You see,
Guarantee joy. You don't want it. Because what?
He doesn't know
Yes.
where to listen.
Coach,
Yes, sir, Bosu.
but you do cool.
Oh, I'm cool, Charlie.
Yeah.
Just that. A bit of
Tiredness.
tiredness, pressure,
Yeah.
back and forth.
Okay, it's okay.
Charlie, today I
That
did it,
okay.
and then my back.
Yeah.
I said, damn. Then I
The,
did this, I did it, then it fell back into place. Then I said, come on.
the
I need to
quadruple.
I need to quadruple this. That is all. It's when there is frequent to and fro movement of the
To
body.
and
It's fro,
fro.
the entire body like that. Then damn, you see, everybody is in touch.
You need to quadruple.
Quadruple
God.
the to and fro movement, back and forth movement of the entire body with absolute joy, absolute happiness. We shala pushia and all those.
Oh God. Okay. But how are you doing?
Charlie, let's start.
Are you okay?
This one, he go feel laugh like 90 minutes.
Mm,
Charlie, we are cool.
yeah.
Hello, guys.
Anyway.
This is the Mallam Goal podcast.
Yeah, man. I love it. I love it. Listen, I'm happy to be back. Today we've got a lot to cover. We need to start with that comment from Jamie Carragher, man. Carragher came out trying to explain himself. Basically, if you've been hiding under a rock, I'm sure that probably is the only reason you would have missed this story. But Jamie Carragher suggested that Mohamed Salah is a wonderful footballer, but he might not win the AFCON. He might not win the Ballon d'Or simply because he plays for Egypt, who doesn't play in major competitions. By implication, the AFCON is not a major competition. And even though his attention was drawn to the fact that the AFCON is a major competition, he scoffed. It's like, seriously? And he basically has raised a massive storm because the people that were on the show with him were the ones that started it, Micah Riches and Daniel Sturridge. Then Rio Ferdinand weighed into the whole thing and said the continuous disrespect for the AFCON is unwarranted. And then so many other El Mohammadi said, Jimmy Carragher doesn't know what it feels like to win for his country, so that's probably why he has that opinion. And Haji Diouf went into him and said that he's not... Yes, exactly. That he's not even counted among the first 1,000 defenders in the world. Because when they were teammates at Liverpool...
Since they were teammates.
Yeah, exactly. So he was waiting for his chance. The latest to join is Mikel Obi. I don't know where he went to sleep. Or he was waiting for his podcast. And then when he appeared on his podcast, the first statement he made in regards to the Jamie Carragher doesn't know what it's like to win for a country. He can fuck off. But on Monday, on one of her shows, Danike and Sicho made some very compelling arguments for why it continues to happen. Not the fact that the AFCON is not a major tournament. That wasn't their view. But they try to explain why they think it keeps happening. Because ultimately, right now, the question is no longer about whether or not the AFCON is a major tournament. I think everyone knows that. The question was, why does it keep happening? Why do they keep refusing to recognize the AFCON as a major competition? Do we have inherently massive problems that we're just refusing to admit because it's our competition? Or is just a case of racial undertone laced with a bit of, I don't know, discrimination and complete disregard for anything African? What is it? We are here to do, not be emotional, but interrogate the issues. Okay? Coach, I'll start with you. Jamie Carragher's comments. I'm sure you've followed the conversation throughout the whole week.
I have.
Where is your opinion on this whole matter? Mikel Obi says he can fuck off.
You see, when I heard the story the first time, I decided I wanted to actually listen to him.
Yes.
So I went back and eventually got the full video. So I listened to him. And I was asking myself, what he sought to do was to say that because Mohamed Salah plays for Egypt,
who would not win the World Cup,
who will never win the World Cup,
and doesn't play in major competition,
and because he plays in a continental competition
like the
AFCON,
winning it will not brighten his chances of winning the Ballon d'Or. That was his argument.
Now, if he doesn't know, an African player won the Ballon d'Or at the time, he hadn't even kicked the ball at the AFCON.
Right.
When George Weah won the Ballon d'Or, George Weah had never played in the AFCON.
That's right. Liberia had never qualified.
Yes.
Put it
So
that way.
Mr. Carragher, winning the Ballon d'Or has got nothing to do with the AFCON. If Salah is the best player in the world, he is by far the best player in the world. Give him the Ballon d'Or.
Yeah.
So when I listened to him,
Mhm.
I said that, look, the man is confused.
Mhm.
He doesn't know what goes into winning the Ballon d'Or.
Mhm.
He doesn't know what goes into that.
Mhm.
So that aside, but when his attention was drawn to the fact that the AFCON is a major tournament,
Yeah.
then he said, really?
Yeah, seriously.
I would have slapped him quick.
To be fair to him,
I would have slapped him.
no, to be fair,
There's nothing more fair than what
no,
I'm
he
saying.
tried to, he explained
Fento,
later that
I'm coming from
the
somebody
scoff
who
was
He
in,
didn't explain. It was 3 days after he had
had
been
been
bashed.
bashed. That's
Yes,
why he came.
Because
I'll come to
if
that.
he sought
Okay,
to explain, he would
you
have
go,
explained
it's
He
okay.
did.
when they
then.
objected.
Let
Because
Coach
you
go on.
see, the level of this, you see, he was not only disrespectful to the AFCON, but he was also disrespectful to his mate, those he sat on the program.
Two colleagues who were drawing his
His
attention to an
no,
important
Don't say
fact.
that. It's a major tournament. And then he looked at them and said,
Seriously? Is that seriously?
look, I would have given him lakpame.
What?
You
Now
give me
what?
what?
I would
Backhand.
have used the back of my hand. Come on, stupid fool. Come on, get out. You foolish man.
And they call it what?
Lakpame.
Like,
I would have used the back. Come on, get out. What do you mean, really? What sort of disrespect?
And Storage had to repeatedly say, it's a fact, it's a fact.
It's a fact. See,
Had to repeatedly say
Look.
that it's a fact, it's a fact.
that was very disrespectful.
Yeah.
Very, very disrespectful. Later on, I've heard most of our people
Mhm.
trying to justify why he would say so. There's no justification for that.
Mhm.
All the fingers are not equal,
But they're unique.
but they are unique in their own.
Uniquely important. That's right.
Thank you.
Uniquely important.
Carragher spoke as if he's never sat in class 1 before.
Yeah.
We can't be like the Europeans. They cannot be like us.
Mhm.
We can't be like the South Americans.
No.
We can't be like the Asians.
But each
But
continental
each
competition
continental competition
should be recognized,
should be
at, the same
recognized
level.
at the same level.
Yeah.
So if you are smart enough and you understand how these things work, you'll not be sitting on the platform worldwide
Mhm.
and be talking this loosely.
Yeah.
He could have.
It's like he lacked the knowledge of global politics.
That's what I'm saying.
Mm.
Onima
He
de
lacked an
Wabon.
appreciation for global politics.
So it's something, you see, I'm so grateful to Mekan Richards,
Yeah.
and then
Michael Richards and Daniel Sturridge.
and Daniel Sturridge,
Mm.
who tried to bring his. They did it in a very sober manner.
Mhm.
Look, I would have gone ballistic at him.
Yeah.
So no wonder Obi Mikel say he should do what? He should
Fuck
fuck off. I was he should fuck off times 4. Quadruple fuck off. Fuck off. Fuck off. Fuck off.
Coach, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay.
Fuck off, Mr.
Hey,
Carragher.
coach, it's okay.
No, that man, he needs to be told. You can go into the
Oh, God.
nitty-gritties about how the AFCON has been held over the years, the difficulty we've had, and on.
That's what makes it unique.
That is what makes it unique.
It's not perfect.
It's not perfect.
We're not looking for perfect.
We
forward.
wanted to improve.
Yeah, of
We
course,
wanted
of
to
course.
get better.
We're not oblivious to the
The
problems.
problems that there are. We are aware of the problems.
Yeah.
But for the fact that it is continental, he doesn't even know. When you ask him, Carragher, how many continents are there in the world? I'm not sure he knows.
I don't think so.
I'm not sure. Because
He
if he
doesn't
knows, every
like-
continent comes in with its own
Yeah.
package. But don't be disrespectful. Don't do that. Mohamed Salah, look, if he was English, they wish Salah was English. If he was English,
Yeah.
they would have trumpeted his name and they would be the first to say,
And to be fair, this is not the first time he's tried
Yes.
to downplay Salah, is it?
yes,
There was a time Salah tweeted that he's obsessed with him.
exactly.
There may be
It's
some
crazy.
beef we don't know about.
Yeah,
No, that
because
is
his
Salah-
side, on
in fact,
his
Salah
side.
actually once tweeted that he feels like Jamie Carragher is obsessed with
He
him.
has problem. You
Because, I mean,
look,
to be
we
honest-
saw you play football. And me, I'm lucky enough. I saw Carragher.
Oh, damn.
saw him.
Oh,
I
damn.
saw him play.
So enough of him.
Every time I think
saw him
about
play.
Carragher,
It's the own
there's
goals.
only one clear image in my head. Zola.
The corner flag.
Oh, champion.
We saw him play. If Carragher was born here in Africa, which team will he play for?
I think he would have made it to the top.
I'm not saying Ghana, in Africa.
Yeah.
We've got better talent than him. But you want to put that aside. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. I think he's been dealt with. I'm happy. Former African players who've played the game, El Hadji Diouf, Mikel Obi, and even
El Mohammadi, winners.
El Mohammadi.
Mm.
I would have loved to hear
Every single one
No.
of them an AFCON winner.
George Weah's level. Carragher doesn't come.
No,
So
no.
it is prudent that people like Weah wouldn't
Don't
respond.
respond
to
to
him.
Of course, of course.
He's so irrelevant.
And I like the point you made about Weah winning it in a year
Ah,
when
Weah
Liberia
had never qualified,
had
never kicked the
even
ball in the
qualified
World
to
Cup.
the AFCON.
In the AFCON.
So
but he was
it
the best in
clearly
the world.
is.
Look,
Look,
it was 95 he won. There was no AFCON in 95.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Even by
That,
that, I'm trying to say that
Liberia
Liberia
never
was
qualified.
He didn't need
his
it.
performances with Liberia
Was
were
so good
inconsequential.
that it was
No, it wasn't. Even, it was inconsequential to his he's a Ballon d'Or win.
winner.
And for me, I think the bigger issue here is that nobody is saying that winning your continental competition should not contribute
It should
to your
contribute.
Ballon d'Or chances.
So
in
look,
a year when
right
the Ballon
now,
d'Or
as we
is
speak,
held.
friend,
No one
right,
is saying
right now as we speak. Let's say Liverpool wins the EPL, which they will do. Real Madrid, because it's looking like a direct competition between him and Mbappe.
Mhm.
Real Madrid wins the Spanish La Liga. They cancel each other. France this year, there's no Euros this year.
Mhm.
The Euro was played last year.
Mhm.
We saw how
There's no
Mbappe
continental competition
competed
this year.
Mhm.
So what does that got to do about who wins the AFCON? Who
The-
wins the Ballon d'Or
Yes,
this year?
the better exactly. So it means that inherently there is an issue he's had because to be fair, the Ballon d'Or will be decided in November.
Yes, and the AFCON is
The
in
AFCON
what,
is in
December?
December. So in fact, for performances with Egypt would have no consequences, no bearing
Whatsoever.
in deciding this year's Ballon d'Or winner, which was the subject of conversation. So how did the issue of Egypt and the AFCON
Egypt
come into the picture? For me, that is where I am at a bit of a loss.
Oh.
Because if it was a year where there was a World Cup, AFCON, Euros, and those sorts of situations, and he was looking at perhaps these players' individual performances in their continental
Yes, then you
competitions,
compare. For example,
improving
last
or
year,
helping their chances,
Last year,
I would have. Yes.
one of my reasons why I said Vinicius didn't deserve that award
Copa America.
was the Copa America performance. He was so bad.
Yeah.
Rodri went to the Euros. He did his job. He deserved to win it.
And that's why I look. That is why
Maybe-
I have very few
maybe-
sympathies for him because I
French.
feel like the agenda he started
Fent, maybe
it was so unnecessary.
maybe he spoke for the majority of Europeans.
That's what I'm saying.
Assuming if it was an AFCON Euros year, and let's say Mbappe wins the Euros, Salah wins the AFCON, Mbappe wins the league, Salah wins the league. Is it then saying that the Euros
should take
should
precedence.
take precedence? Maybe that is what he's thinking about.
Can I can I come in?
Yes.
I think maybe I'm the problem. Because when I watched the clip, I didn't understand it the way like you guys
Everyone
have,
else.
at all. Like
Okay.
at all.
I'm interested in your perspective. What do you think?
It was a very interesting debate.
Mhm.
And when Carragher started, and let me start by saying he's my least favorite pundit.
Mhm.
In fact, I hardly listen to him.
I don't listen to him.
Hardly. But I don't know. Sunday was a big game. So sometimes what I do when it's big games on Sunday, you go around the various post-match
Of course.
and then listen. the debate was very interesting. And I think the angle, how I understood it was, and it's something I've personally said before, players like Lewandowski, like Salah, unfortunately,
Ibrahimovic.
Zlatan, the country you play for also has a bearing on whether or not you are quote unquote deemed fit for a Ballon d'Or. I don't know if I'm making sense.
You're making sense.
Le-
You're making
No,
sense.
no, that the brand of your nationality counts in the football world.
In the football
So
world.
in other words, when you are from certain countries, your chances of winning Ballon, it's almost
higher.
like you have a natural
Yeah.
road to winning the
But
Ballon
that's
d'Or
so
if you are from a
unfortunate.
certain country.
Yeah.
So
That is
if
so
you are from,
unfortunate.
if you are
Yeah.
French, if you are Spanish,
We all
If you are
cannot
Brazilian,
be born in the
English,
same
you are
country.
Brazilian,
We should be
Argentine.
careful.
We should be
But
careful.
Let me
Yes.
He's saying that from the evidence, that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
If they're born you American,
I'm
your
just saying,
journey
friend,
Yeah, let me.
I'm
let
just
me-
saying that each of those variables
I'm
has
trying to build
its
a point.
unique value.
Look,
But you,
I'm trying
in
to
order
build,
not to
let me
distort its flow of-
build
Yeah.
a point so that we're on the same page. Again, in fact, let me say this. Let me give this disclaimer before I go on to. I'm choosing to look at the argument on what is, not what should be.
Mhm.
Let's not be emotional about this thing.
Mhm.
We are looking at what is happening, what happens, not what should be the case, not what should be the ideal case. What's the full name for the Ballon d'Or?
It's a UEFA Ballon d'Or.
Thank you very much. The UEFA Ballon d'Or organized by UEFA now. Previously, it was France Football. France Football were sole organizers of the award.
Mhm.
France Football are based where in France, European.
Mhm.
In fact, the Ballon d'Or, when it started, was awarding the best players who play in Europe.
Mhm.
That's what it
Not
still
just
is.
in Europe, actually. It was actually just European
Just
players.
European players who were.
Yeah.
Then they
European
decided
players.
to.
If you were born in South America, you were playing in Europe because you were not part.
You were not part.
Yes.
Then they decided to expand it and
Yes.
accommodate players who played in Europe.
Yes.
Nobody forced them to do that.
So it is their award.
Yes, nobody forced them to do that.
CAF doesn't give the best player award to Messi.
Mhm.
They give it to African players.
Mhm.
So when Europe decides that they are doing the award, they are well within their rights to form their criteria
And give it to their people. Agreed.
This time around, unfortunately, European football is the biggest, club football is the biggest in the world.
Mhm.
The eyes of the world, every young player growing up wants to play in Europe. So the Ballon d'Or has subconsciously become the world's best player.
Mhm.
If you are the best player in Europe, you are by extension the best player in the world.
Mhm.
That's why I'm saying that we are looking at what is, not what should be.
Mhm.
There were times in the past where you look at certain players who played in Africa, and
Mhm.
I'm talking about the CAF,
Mhm.
the Best Player Award. Abu Trika, when you looked at what he did for Ali
Mhm.
in certain seasons, in addition to Egypt, yet he was losing out the CAF Best Player Award to players who were playing in Europe.
Mhm.
And that was a long-standing argument, if you
Yeah.
remember, in Africa. A
I-
long-standing
I
argument.
had a huge issue with that.
Exactly. And what I'm saying is, I'm trying to build our minds to subconsciously what we
Yeah.
have accepted as the norm. Even in Africa, we agree subconsciously that European football is better than ours. That is why we took achievements from
European
Samuel
club
Eto'o,
football.
European club football. That's why we took achievements from the Drogbas, from the ACNs, that Eto's as better than what players were doing in Africa. Those who won the CAF Champions League were sidelined, and the main award was given to players who played in Europe. So if you win the CAF Champions League, as again, if you win the UEFA Champions League, you are more likely to win the CAF Player of the Year if you win the UEFA Champions League than if you win the CAF Champions League. It's a subconscious thing. That is because Europe has been able to position their football in everybody's minds as the best in the world. Now, and I said that I've already made that argument before. Players like Lewandowski and co. I remember when Lewandowski didn't win the Ballon d'Or. I've forgotten who I was talking to, but I was telling the person, if Lewandowski was English, if Lewandowski was Brazilian, nobody would have sidestepped him for that. it wouldn't have happened. Because the journalists who back, you see, there's a certain constituency you have to have. The journalists who back, those who vote, they are human beings. They are countrymen of the players. So if France football, there's a large chunk of French journalists who vote. The award is French. Mbappe, PSG haven't done anything in the Champions League. Yet some way, somehow, Mbappe finishes in top 10. He finishes in top 5. Yet somebody else who do well, and if like you can put this down, watch what will happen to Dembele this season. If he goes all the way, let's say to a semi-final of a Champions League or a quarter-final with the numbers that he's doing, I can bet you he may not do as well as Mbappe. There's a certain aura and branding, whether you like it or not. That is what it is. There are some players who are positioned, even from the time they hit the scene, they are positioned and branded in a way like a Ballon d'Or worthy candidate.
Like Marcia. Then they'll put clause.
There are just some players like that. You see, and unfortunately, that branding and that aura can overshadow some players who are actually putting in the work. Prime example, look at what is happening in Barcelona this season.
Yeah.
I don't understand why people have put Mbappe and Salah as the front runners. And it's like, we can't see what Rafinha is doing. But Rafinha doesn't have that branding, or even in his national team, he's not a star man. In his team right now, he's currently the best Barcelona player, but he's not the poster boy.
Your point is, no, you're making good sense. Except that the Rafinha example defeats an earlier point you've made. About being from certain countries.
Yeah, so it's a double point.
I know.
Being from a certain country is one.
Yes.
Being branded as poster boy, like a certain branding, star boy also is part.
Also counts.
So unfortunately for Rafinha, yes, he's from Brazil, but he's not the star boy of Brazil. He's just another player in Brazil.
I want to know from your analysis, must you have both or either? Or I want to know where to scientifically place your argument.
Sometimes it's both.
So they affect people differently.
Yeah, it affects people different. Sometimes it's both. Sometimes it will be enough for you to be one. And the most important thing, it also depends. And in fact, as I said, the most important thing, it depends on who you are battling the award with that year.
Right.
Who you are battling with. It is fundamentally the most important thing. I remember I was having this argument with one of our senior colleagues. I was talking about how good Zidane was. And he sat me down for like an hour and a half and was telling me how he felt that if social media was active during his time, Laudrup, the one who played for Barcelona, would have had more plaudits than Zinedine Zidane. Because Laudrup was scoring, he was assisting, he was way more consistent. But unfortunately for him, he played for Denmark. Even at Barcelona, he wasn't like that poster boy. He wasn't the star. And Zidane was just Zidane. Zidane carries an aura everywhere he goes. So he felt like there were certain seasons where Zidane will win the Ballon d'Or. Zidane will be the star.
But was not consistent.
He wasn't consistent. He would come up with moments, and because of one moment, boom. Now, let me narrow it down to the argument.
Yeah. So how does all of that affect the Salah?
What I felt and what I understood from Carragher's argument was the constituency Salah has with Egypt. Unfortunately for him, this year, it may not be enough to beat Mbappe. If you remember,
no matter what he does with Liverpool.
If you remember, at the tail end, when he was concluding, he said that he has to win the Champions League. He said has to win the Champions League, the league. Because that's the only way, and we are being realistic, that's the only way you'll be able to convince everybody that you are better than Mbappe.
On condition that Mbappe wins the Champions League. But if the two of them fail in winning the Champions League, and it's about Salah will win the league here. As we speak, there's no guarantee that Mbappe is even going to win the league. So let's assume that the two of them win the league, and Liverpool or Real Madrid don't win the Champions League. What else do we go to? We go to the numbers. And Salah's numbers clearly outweighs that of Mbappe.
Yes, again, you are talking about what should be. I'm talking about the reality on the ground.
Like, then it is better.
But you also mentioned a case of what should be.
We also cannot be born from the same country.
Because
but even in terms of the reality, Daniel, I'm asking you a question. you genuinely think if Mbappe doesn't win
The Champions,
Champions
League, and
League.
Salah doesn't win, and the two go on their league form, who should win it?
Salah keeps outperforming him, there is a world where Mbappe can win the Ballon d'Or.
I'm asking you. You've answered you've answered the question by the very premise of this argument. Why is Mbappe even being compared to Salah right now?
No, but he's doing well.
Because he
in
started
Spain,
performing again.
and
Salah,
Salah is doing well.
per
In
the numbers right now, is the best player in the world by
That's-
far.
who are those comparing
Mbappe
him?
isn't even the best player in La
Yeah,
Liga.
who are
if we are
those
talking about
comparing him?
numbers,
Who are
but
those comparing?
unfortunately, he's in our minds as a front runner for Ballon. That's
And
what
he
I'm
shouldn't
saying.
be.
And it shouldn't be. That's what I'm
what
saying.
Daniel's
That's my
saying.
argument.
No.
That if you are looking
That
at
in
raw
the
numbers,
first place,
Salah
Mbappe should not have even been in the conversation, at least at this point.
at this point,
I have
it's
said-
clearly
Because Salah is
Wait,
a clearly.
When
So who
did
brought
the
it?
Ballon
Who
d'Or
brought into
year
the
start?
conversation?
That's
The
what
same
I'm saying,
Carragher.
that the conversation
The
is
same
formed
Carragher.
because of
The
the
same
aura
Carragher.
around the player, because of where he's from.
I understand.
But
the
is it
way-
not the
because
same
of the
Carragher
same
who started
Carragher.
it?
it's not the same. Why are you doing this? Like you don't know Mbappe as is it Carragher who came to tell us Mbappe is in the Ballon d'Or conversation? We know after the hat trick, people are there right ups. Everybody has been talking about it. This if Real Madrid wins the Champions League, he's going to win.
So there's a condition.
No, but the fact that people are exaggerating,
what
it
I'm
doesn't
saying
make it a
is-
legitimate
what
call.
I'm
Let
saying
Daniel
is, you
land.
see,
Let's let Daniel land.
there's no guarantee that Real Madrid and Liverpool or Liverpool will win the Champions League. I'm saying that what is like the fact of the matter is if Salah does not win the Champions League, wins the league, has the numbers he has, but Mbappe finishes closer to winning the Champions League and wins the league, numbers may not even matter. If they are primed to face each other at a point. If Salah, see, football is funny. If Real Madrid faces Liverpool
In the Champions League
and
final.
Liverpool wins, this is our standing situation,
Yeah.
and Liverpool wins,
Mhm.
but Salah doesn't perform,
It will still count against Salah.
it could.
Mm.
It could count against him. And we've seen it before. Look,
Where perform means what?
Haaland,
Just
look,
say he doesn't put up a man.
Erling
No, but he
Haaland,
doesn't need to do that.
Erling Haaland scored he scored 50 plus goals in a season.
Yeah, I remember that.
50 plus goals in a season.
Mhm.
I asked somebody a simple question at the end of that season. If Haaland was Ronaldo, do you think he wouldn't have won the Ballon d'Or? After
They would
winning
not
a
have
treble,
dared to give it to
after
Messi.
winning a treble with Manchester City and scoring 50 plus goals, breaking the Premier League all-time goal scoring record, winning the Champions League that season, you are telling me that they wouldn't have given it to
So replace the human being
Bean
with a
a
different one.
person.
And
I
the
asked-
same number.
And I asked Sitro this question also on Monday.
Mhm.
This very conversation we
Who
are
won
having.
that Ballon d'Or?
Messi.
Messi.
No, but we all knew it was
That was the
strictly
World
based
Cup
on the
year.
World Cup here.
But technically, it wasn't because
No.
the voting
You see,
window.
if
The
you go to
FIFA
the
best,
World
the
Cup,
No, no, no.
FIFA best award was based on the World Cup.
Uh-huh.
For the Ballon d'Or, and that's what I was saying
Yeah,
earlier.
it was
A
outside.
precedent had been set previously where an individual outstanding season could override what somebody did at the World Cup.
Yeah.
That was 2010. When Messi balled out, that in me, I will say it. For agenda's sake, sometimes I switch. But I've mentioned this argument over and over.
Yeah, record
Going
numbers
to
that
that
season.
World Cup, going into that 2010 World Cup, Messi was by far the best player in the world. He had a very poor World Cup, but the performances, individual performances at the World Cup were not enough to override what he had done the whole season. So they still gave him the
So there was
Ballon d'Or.
no clear.
It wasn't a
World Cup.
clear.
That's understood.
Exactly. What Haaland did that season, winning the treble, basically
did
replace him,
everything.
You see,
replace him with a
You see-
different player and ask yourself that
let
question.
me.
And that different player being a player
Fred,
well branded.
Well branded, it would have been a
You see,
completely
Let
different
me just say
result.
that when I was growing up, my understanding of who the best player is in the world wasn't restricted to the one who scores the
The
most
most
goals.
goals. Thank you.
Now it is.
I'm coming. It shouldn't be.
That's,
And I
that's
don't
the
think it
argument.
is.
You see,
Listen, I don't think it is.
It is now.
It is not.
Messi and Ronaldo have redefined
No, but
what
Messi,
it takes.
Messi and Ronaldo did not only score the most goals.
Yes.
Footballing wise, they were the best players. Tell me if you take.
Hold on. But in your own submission
Mhm.
just now,
Mhm.
one of the metrics you used for Mbappe and Salah was the number.
No,
You can't
I'm
run
saying-
away from
I'm
the
s-
numbers
no,
now.
These two guys are ballers. Mbappe is a fantastic footballer. Mo Salah is a fantastic footballer.
Mhm.
So in their cases, it may go down to the numbers.
So
But the numbers
is your
is-
argument about the
Man,
Haaland thing.
my argument is about the Haaland thing.
That he
That he
just
was
numbers.
scoring the goal. Elebotwa. Zuku Elebotwa. Elebotwa.
I see where you go. I see where he was going.
You understand? Elebotwa. Haaland. Elebotwa. Goal. Elebotwa.
Olenugo.
Elebotwa. Going. Elebotwa.
Is it Chouameni?
Go.
Elebo Chua like Chouameni. So Chouameni like Chouameni.
Bring your point home. Let me bring it at you.
Let me bring it home.
Yes, please.
I'm saying that. This is not the first time somebody has made a statement like this
Of course.
that has triggered the entire continent. But I think it's time we ask ourselves why. Why this consistently happens. And for me, I don't think it's down to any racial lines or disrespect,
disrespect.
for Africa. I don't think so. I think it's down to footballing achievements on the global scene. And let me explain why I'm saying that. When you look at the Copa America, you look at the numbers they generate in terms of TV viewership, even money, it doesn't come close to what the AFCON is doing. The AFCON is doing better. But there's a certain lure when you mention Brazil, Argentina, Uruguay. The world stands still. These countries have 10 World Cups between them. When they come out to the world in a World Cup, everybody will stop to watch a Brazil match. Everybody will stop to watch an Argentina game. People will watch Uruguay. By extension, some people will watch Colombia. Like South American teams, when they've come to the world, they've made the whole world understand that they are there and on a consistent basis.
Right.
So they are living rent-free in everybody's head. Brazil just didn't get up. And when you come from Brazil, look, Anthony Sarr, but because he's Brazilian, look at the leverage that was given him.
What you are saying here, we could also argue and complain that. I'm coming.
We
could also say that
land. You see,
they've had more numbers at the World Cup.
Let me land. That's not true.
It's true.
That's not true.
It's true.
It's not true.
In terms of participation,
That's not true. South America
No,
haven't.
I'm not saying more than everybody, but compared to Africa, they've had more numbers than us.
South America.
Yes.
No.
Oh,
We're
now
having the same
listen.
numbers now.
Until recently.
Yeah.
When did the numbers become?
But ever since they increased our numbers, what have we done?
My point is,
No, but have they won the World Cup every year?
Fence.
They've not
No,
won it
but
every year.
they've had the same numbers as us.
No, but how many are they? How many are there? 14, 13 countries playing, and they are always coming with 4-5, 4-5, 4-5. How many are we? We are 50-something. So in terms of distribution,
with 5-5-5.
in terms of distribution, that is poor.
Coach. Fence.
You find Africa, we've had problems with that.
Let me land.
Alright.
Then
Will you
Atu
go
can
on?
come in.
The numbers argument is one of the numbers is not why we have not won the World Cup.
Look,
we just
friend, that is one of the reasons.
Fence.
not.
If you were going to the World Cup with only 1 or 2 teams, and people are bringing 13 teams, what is the probability? This is
But
mathematics.
there's also the
It's
probability
mathematics.
now that they increase it to 5 and you still get
No, but
Kicked
if
out
they
in the
increase it to
group
5, somebody has been increased from 13 to something else.
no.
What is the probability?
I'm saying that South America was not increased when you were increased.
No, what I'm saying is that if you look at
And yet
In-
they keep
look,
winning the World
in
Cup.
recent times, when was the last time a South American team won the
Argentina,
World
they
Cup?
are the
Yes,
defending
twice.
champions.
Since 2022, 2002 when Brazil won it, and Argentina.
Yes.
How many years was
How
it?
many have you won?
No, but when did we get our 5 slot?
2006.
They've been having their 5 slots since.
2006, you had 5.
No, 2006 we didn't have 5.
Yeah, we
Cote
did.
d'Ivoire, Togo, Ghana,
Angola.
Angola.
And Cameroon. Yes.
Ah.
Since 2006. They've had their 5 since. It will
Yeah,
take
but I'm saying since you
since
won
we
the
had our
champions,
5.
yes,
since,
what
we
have you done?
since we had our 5.
2002, we had 5.
2002 as
We had
well.
5 in 2002. Nigeria, South Africa, Cameroon,
Senegal.
Senegal, and
That's-
there was a
At least since we had
Against
5,
Tunisia.
we've
Tunisia.
made the quarterfinals. We've made the semi-final.
Not good
These were
enough.
things we're not even doing.
Let's not
No, no,
celebrate
no, no, no.
mediocrity.
I'm not celebrating mediocrity.
Can
Say
I-
no it.
This is basic mathematics.
Can I
If
just
somebody, how many countries
I have
do
a
have
question
in Europe?
for you.
How
Coach.
many countries
I
are
have-
in
no,
Europe?
coach, no, coach, I have a question for you.
Look,
If
before your
they-
question,
if they-
before your
let's
question,
say-
Tobo,
let's say the 5. No, hold on. It's mathematics.
before your question,
I'm good with
Tobo,
maths. Let's
before
say,
your
let's-
question, Tobo,
Let's say the
how
5.
many countries are there in Europe?
Or Europe, they have like 54 countries.
We have 52. Why are they being given 13 plus and we being given just 2 or 3 or 5? Where's the distribution?
Yes.
Where is the distribution? So don't win it them all. But look, me,
Forget Europe.
I've always
That
had
is not
issues.
the matrix.
I've always had issues with the distribution. I've always had issues. Let's go there, equal numbers, and let's see what will happen.
So I have a question for you. You are telling me, Coach Nimli,
Yes.
now
Yes.
that if Africa also had 13 representatives,
We would have won it. Because
which team?
what do you mean?
Your best are the 5 that go. So you're saying that
No,
the
what I'm saying,
additional 8 that
are
will
you
come
trying
out,
to tell me
is that where the champion will come from?
Are you trying to tell me that? Are you trying to tell me that the 13 European teams that are they the best European teams?
Yes, that ones that qualify.
At times they bring chaff. Some of the teams are chaff.
It doesn't matter.
So equal
But
the
I'm
number.
saying
Give
that-
us equal number. You see what will happen.
No. Some of the teams are chaff. I agree.
And so what I say?
No, you're not listening. Some of the teams are chaff.
Uh-huh.
But from the chaff, they still get champions. You to bring 13. From your 13, the some will be chaff. But will you get a champion from it?
So you have to, of course, you are
You
saying
won't.
what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying.
No.
How would you get a champion from it?
You listen, Fent. This is simple mathematics.
I have just
13 Europeans, 13 Africans.
Mhm.
Do the numbers in such a way where nobody.
No, I'm saying that.
You see, Africa, there were times we even threatened to boycott because of the numbers.
No, I'm not arguing.
So
with
you
the
cannot
numbers.
say that. Look,
My argument is that the numbers will not
1990.
guarantee you victory.
1990, how many were we? 94, how many were we? 98, how many were we? How many were they? So in place of
So I have a question for you. You're telling me right now that 1998, if we had 3 teams in 98, if we had added 10 more teams, we would have had a champion from those 10 teams.
You cannot tell me that. You cannot run away from the fact that the European teams are many. They stand a better chance of winning the tournament.
Is it just
what are you talking about?
No, it's just a case of them being many, or just a case of them having more quality teams among them?
Look, as we speak today, if you give Africa the same slot as you give to the European, we win the World Cup.
How would you do it?
No,
Hold on.
granting Jebola. You know before we would go,
Okay,
so
coach, so let me ask you this question. South America, they have what? Is it 9 countries or is it 10? Very few.
10 Kauman 5.
Hold on. I have a question. No. I'm making a point. They get 5. So they get 4.5. But ultimately, they always bring 5. They bring 5 all the time. Okay? 5 all the time. You, Africa, from South America's 5, they play league format. The best 5 are the ones they bring. Africa, they tell you also have 5. So you play a recross qualifying series and choose the best 5 to come.
You see, that is where the problem is.
How?
If you understand football, which I know you know, and I know, per our qualification, we are not guaranteed to bring all our best. Football in itself will not allow you to put forward all your best foot.
That's the
But
same
the more
logic
numbers,
I've known.
but the more numbers you have, you stand a better chance of bringing more of your best.
No.
That's
The
the point I'm making.
probability you are saying applies to Africa. It applies to South America too, correct?
No, of
That the
course.
format wouldn't allow you,
No,
because it's
they
football.
are 10, and they are giving 50% of them to come to the World Cup. It's a huge advantage. They are 10, and 50% comes. We are 52.
But
percentage 5% of 52. How many percentage?
But
is
hold
that?
on. But you're
That's
not
the point I'm making.
No, that is not a valid point. The valid point. No. The valid point is this: if you are giving the chance to bring even one team to the World Cup, by all means, the team that comes from your continent should have earned it.
Yes. And I'm
So
saying,
your-
give us
so
more.
hold on. So I'm saying that throughout the history, South America's top 5 teams that have earned qualification to the World Cup have won World Cup. You to your top 5 that have earned qualifications to the World Cup consistently have failed. And you
Not
are telling me
consistently.
rather that the reason
Not
they are
consistently
failing, hold
have
on, no.
failed.
They're saying that the reason they are failing is because probability-wise,
You see,
we have a small
You
percentage
see-
of our teams going to the World Cup. That's
you
why they are
see,
failing.
You see, what I'm saying, which you are refusing to accept and understand, which is basic. If the South American teams are 10 and 5 of them will show up at the World Cup, that's a proper representation of the continent, isn't
No
it?
problem.
We are 52.
Mhm.
And until recently,
Mhm.
we have 5% represented.
Mhm.
That's not a proper rep. Even we cannot argue.
in terms of race, in terms of equality.
Yeah, it's not proper. So you cannot say that.
You see, in terms of equality,
That is
it's
not proper.
But
And then you see, it's about numbers. It's about games.
But in terms of equity,
That is also not equal. The inequality is huge.
No, you see, equitable distribution is different from equal distribution.
That's what I'm saying. The inequality is huge.
So hold on, coach, hold on. Your probabilities is what I want us to interrogate.
You cannot.
No. I get your percentage argument, but I am saying that can you, as a
Daniel
matter
will
of
lose his train of
honesty,
thought.
sit here
Daniel will lose his train of thought. You've
and
veered off
tell
for so
me
long.
that because we've been sending 5 countries and it's not an equal representation of our continent, you feel that if we had an equal representation, the top 5 that we've been sending that have not done well, no, somehow by adding additional 8, we will get a champion from there.
It's not about. Is it not about numbers? The World Cup is it not about numbers? We go. We see
when I take out
Czech Republic, Hungary,
no, coach,
and those take with your people.
and those ones never win. Do they ever win?
No, but they add up. They end up.
Yes, but they never win.
You see, it's not they never winning. They end up brightening the chances of the Europeans to win the tournament.
How so?
But
The European countries go there and say, we have Czech Republic, we won't win. Let's play for England to win.
How many teams were in the last World Cup? 32, isn't it, decay? How many of them were Europeans? You can't run away from that. It's probability. It holds. It holds as an argument. It holds.
How that come
It
that
affects-
argument doesn't apply to the South Americans?
They are 10. It applies. They are 10. They are
Deal with
50.
absolute numbers then.
So 10, 5.
No,
52, 5.
No.
53,
You said
54,
how many
13.
How many Europeans?
13.
How many South Americans?
5.
How can the South Americans?
No, but how
from
many
their
are
5?
they? No,
Bro,
then
their
you
5
cannot
can
bring
be
up-
winning.
That
You
will
do. You have 5. You can't win. Then you say it's because you have 30.
They are being give us at least the same 13 slot that you've given to it. See whether we'll not win it. We'll win it.
Danike,
La ilaha illallah.
I apologize.
DK, sorry.
We are not sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You are
Anyway.
not sorry.
No, I just wanted to chip in. You didn't allow me. You keep.
I was saying that we should ask ourselves why this has consistently happened. Why we see the quote unquote disrespect from those outside Africa. And I personally don't think it has anything to do with racial lines. It just has to do with our inconsistency at the world stage and our poor performance, if you say, at the world stage. Until last World Cup, the best an African country had done at the World Cup was a quarterfinal, which isn't the best. If you are talking about ratios, you don't talk about how many you are as to who gets inside. It's the 32 that are there that are being represented. South America have 5, you have 5.
Somebody have 13.
54, they had 2, they won the World Cup. 58, they had 3, they won the World Cup. On both occasions, the Europeans were more than them. 2002, they had 5, Africa had 5, Europe had the 13 or 14. They still won the World Cup. 98,
No, you see-
they had the same 5 or was it
when you
4?
make the argument,
They went to the
like this,
final of a World Cup. 94, they had the 3 or 4. They went to the final, they won the World Cup. They've been doing it consistently, and it's about the quality and the consistency. And you can double down on that point and look at the consistency with the nations that are winning for South America. After Uruguay won the first couple of them, it's Brazil, Argentina, Brazil, Argentina. There's a certain quality that these two teams carry that if Brazil and Argentina are the only South American teams that enter a competition, best believe that if any South American team is going to get to the last 4, it will be either one of the two of them.
Mhm.
So
Doesn't matter if it's just one or two.
it doesn't
of them,
matter if
they
it's
will
one
get
or
there.
two. They will be
So
there.
it's not a case of how many.
They beat Africans, they
Quality.
beat Europeans, they beat South
See,
Americans.
I don't
But at the end of the day,
I don't get it.
at the end of the day, they've managed to be consistent. So whether the world likes it or not, Brazil, Argentina are dwelling in our minds rent-free. And once Brazil and Argentina are associated with the Copa America, nobody cares if they are inviting 7 people or they are inviting 16 people.
Or they are playing
Once
in America.
Brazil and Argentina are there, if you can add Uruguay, the eyes of the world will pay attention because Brazil and Argentina are playing. And fortunately or unfortunately, if there's a Brazilian or an Argentine who has already done well for their club and is playing in that competition, because of the history and, as Mourinho say, football heritage that the teams have over the years, it propels them easily in the minds of people to be able to win that competition or do well in that competition, even though people don't necessarily respect that competition. I'll give you an example. When Chile won it back-to-back, nobody thought about Sanchez going to win at Ballon d'Or or anything. But if you have the heritage with the teams that are in your confederation, when they do well in the competition, it also brightens the chances of that competition getting the recognition from the outside world. So I think for CAF,
you're saying AFCON doesn't do that?
AFCON doesn't do that because when we go to the World Cup, we don't do well enough. I believe that Morocco have done a semi-final. If Africa for the next 3 or 4 World Cups can reach a semi-final, push a final, I promise you, nobody is going to have to argue about this point again. Our teams will be firmly in the minds of people. It takes a certain level of consistency. You can't do it and stop and do it and stop. Again, the numbers don't favor South America, but some way, somehow, in fact, in the 54, 58, 62, Brazil's tactics revolutionized the entire tactics of the world. There was one country in South America who were beating everybody at the World Cup. So they stopped what they knew and started copying what the Brazilians were doing. And I'm saying that when you take charge over the world at the world stage, the world will pay notice. People will take notice.
Whether they like it or they don't like it. And the World Cup was only first hosted in Uruguay, but it was
very beautifully said with respect to the South Americans. And the point I'm making is that they are 10. 50% of them come to the World Cup. That is significant in terms of numbers.
Yeah, but you
so the point I'm making, you see,
I get you.
You are running away from
but
the point.
I'm saying that for the purposes of this argument, using percentage representation is not fair. Use absolute numbers.
For which representation?
You keep saying 50% of South America like it's big. It's 5.
It's 5. There are 10.
5.
I have 5 out of 52.
So go and win.
I have 5 out of 52.
It's not 5 out of 52. It's 5 out of 32 teams who are playing the competition.
No.
It's about the competition.
No. We are not looking about the competition. We are looking at what brings you to the competition. Why is somebody giving 30 and somebody's giving 5?
The competition has, hold on. But the competition is made up of 32 teams. Africa, you have 5 in there. South America, you have 5.
Somebody has 30.
The South America who have 5.
There's a problem.
Keep winning now. You two, you get your 5. Not done anything.
You see, let me tell you.
Let
me tell you something. Football is diversified. The level and the quality level is different.
Okay.
We are not on the same level.
So this is what Daniel is saying.
What I'm saying that
we have to do something.
You see, if we are not on the same level, our chances are brightened by numbers. Agreed?
It doesn't work like that in the World Cup.
It works.
It doesn't.
It works.
If not, then Daniel's argument would not have been described as beautiful.
His argument works.
Yes, you can bring one South American team to 10 Europeans. They will still be there in the last stages.
That is where the quality of the South Americans will come to the fore.
So we need that quality too.
No, we can't.
So that we can say if
we can't equate ourselves to them. Why, if you bring one African country, somebody, you see, you are just using a South American point. Why are you running away from the?
No, that's where we have equal.
No, don't move away from the Europeans. Don't move away from the Europeans. They also have bigger. Which continents have won the World Cup? Let's finish this one, baby.
No, we are finished.
No, we've not finished.
You're
running away.
Yes, I like Achu. Please go on. I've run away.
My people in Tadi.
Thank you.
Yeah. Because of my upbringing in Takrady, I have a fair appreciation of Fanti proverbs.
Mm-hmm.
Fanti, and this one I'm going to say it in Fanti. Fanti for what baby there. Say, oh ye here, it depends on what I rura. So when you be here, it's depend on what's I rura.
If someone disgusts you,
yes,
it doesn't matter that they're eating bread.
If you disgust someone,
if you
find the person to be very irritating,
yes,
you are not pleased by anything they do.
Mm-hmm.
The least provocative things they do.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, even when it is not provocative, you find
it annoying.
Yes. So the fact your conduct is not necessarily what they are angry about. There is just some residual anger, unconditional hatred towards you that the person is manifesting in what they are nicely packaging as a critique of your behavior. And sometimes coincidence situations will allow them to do that, or other people who are either oblivious of your history with the person because they don't know the animosity between the two of you or the person's hatred towards you. They will look at that particular conduct for what they think it is.
Okay.
But that will be an uneducated view. That is exactly what we're looking at. Daniel makes a fantastic point about the power blocks and the constituencies around the Ballon d'Or. And I say this to everyone who has made that case. It is true. However, Carragher's reaction when his attention was drawn to the fact that it is indeed a major tournament.
That is where the problem is.
You see, it is not a matter of opinion. It's like when Chelsea fans when a team is in the title race and they say, we don't want to be, it is not up to you to decide. The title race is determined by the closeness of the teams at the top, the number of points between them, number of matches remaining.
It's not your ambitions.
No. It has nothing to do with whether you can deal with that. No. You get me?
Yeah.
Everything that happened, that is what betrays the person's hatred, not just for Africans, but the character in question, Mohamed Salah.
But Achu, not to cut you, I want to say something about that reaction because Achu mentioned it when I was making my point.
I also mentioned it.
To be frank, and again, I stand to be corrected, but if anybody is watching and they understood it the way I understood it, you put it in the comment section. He had made a point. Then when he finished, because he said that he plays for Egypt, so he has to win the major tournaments, and he listed the major tournaments. Then Michael Richard said that, but the AFCON is a major tournament. And he goes like, oh, please. I got the oh, please, like, AFCON isn't enough.
No.
In the bank to win a Ballon d'Or. That's how I understood it. Because remember, Mane did an AFCON in 2021.
Yes.
If you remember. 2021, I think he finished.
The AFCON was played in 22 January.
He finished second in the Ballon d'Or. Yeah. That year, I don't think there was a Copa. Who won it that year? It was
Karim Benzema.
No, was it Benzema? Who
Yes,
won?
that was the year
2022.
Benzema was scoring hat-tricks
Yes,
in every round of
and he won the Champions League.
Yes.
The year he
beating
scored
Liverpool.
hat-trick at Stamford Bridge.
By beating Liverpool.
Yes.
Mane won the AFCON. Okay.
And was in the Champions League final.
And was in the Champions League final. So my own is replace the two. The way Rodri won the Euros and then beat the guy who won the Champions League final. Why is it that Mane won the AFCON? Was the best player at the AFCON? Was in the final of the Champions League. He won 2 trophies that season.
Daniel, just tell me this way. Say, if Benzema won the Euros and lost the Champions League final,
would he have lost to
Do
Mane?
you genuinely believe that?
That's a question I'm asking.
Daniel, do you genuinely believe that, devoid of all of the politics, do you genuinely believe that year
Mane was the best player.
outperformed Benzema?
I'm saying, wait.
That's why I'm saying devoid of all of the politics. Like devoid of
I'm saying that.
No,
It's a fair- I'm just asking a fair question. I'm
It's a
saying that viewers, you, Achu, everybody.
Yeah.
If Benzema had won the Euros, okay, and the timing is also important.
Yeah.
Imagine the Euros was played in January, and Benzema had won the Euros with France,
and there is no AFCON.
was the best player at the competition, and then finished by losing the Champions League final to a Sadio Mane who had top scored, won the Champions League,
and did the numbers Benzema did.
And did the numbers that Benzema did. Do you think that Mane would have won the Ballon d'Or ahead of Benzema?
The title would only make a difference if the two of them were neck and neck. That title.
I'm not saying what is.
Yes.
I'm saying that genuinely.
That's my answer.
Do you think?
Because for me, those have never been the primary consideration. That's why, as painful as it was in the Haaland situation, Charlie, in the end, it is who excites me more? Who's the better player? That's what it comes down to.
Okay. So you go back to your original point.
For me,
I want us to...
This has... You see, if this was a critique of the value of the AFCON,
Different.
that's a different conversation.
Different.
I don't think any of us or those who have gone after him are oblivious of the AFCON standing and the fact that we need to be repetitive, like Daniel said, in the AFCON that we just produced, the Côte d'Ivoire one.
I mean,
The numbers were crazy.
In recent times, it's been beautiful.
So we
From
need to-
Cameroon to Egypt.
And
to
I think
Côte
that, look,
d'Ivoire,
we need
it's
to
gotten
admit
better.
that
Isn't it, friend?
However,
It's gotten better.
the issue here for me is that, and you see, the danger for African football, Carragher was not alone.
In that line of thought.
There is a dismissive, arrogant posturing
Disrespectful.
that the English people have
Yes.
towards anything that is not English. When we were growing up, remember, this was even recent, like the late 2000s and early 2010s. Whenever there's talk about a new coach who's doing something brilliant outside of England, a new player, their default reaction is, and they have phrases that subconsciously program you to accept that you have to be able to prove to them.
in their
So
league.
everything else is inferior. So they are
But can he do it on a cold Tuesday
windy
night in
nights at the
Stoke?
Britannia.
Brandon.
That's what I was coming to.
That's deliberate, Brandon.
You see, but you see,
No, but that's
it is not.
disrespectful.
But that's what is.
That is
The other day-
disrespectful.
the other
Auntie.
day-
worked.
The other day, I was telling
No, but how many times
was
has
our colleague
players
Kukua
played in the
Santi
English league
who
won the Ballon
put
d'Or?
up a
No, I'm
tweet
not
and
saying
someone responded by talking about Philip Osebunsu. And I said something that is also relevant here, that every time people talk about any professional at all that is coming to Accra, the default posturing is, can you do it here? Some people do that because it is okay to have a certain level of pessimism, because doubt is good, but give people the benefit of the doubt. There's a difference between that and doing that in a manner that is very dismissive. When English people do, when Mourinho came into the Premier League, people were offended that he was calling himself special.
Mhm.
This was the reigning Champions League winner with FC Porto. He had done the unthinkable.
Mhm.
Yet, people were offended. And so every time, and I remember this so well because at the point I started getting fed up, even every time he needed to be almost apologetic. And then he simply didn't care anymore
Mhm.
because, I'm doing well. I'm beating the best of your people here. I'm beating Wenger. I'm beating Ferguson. He did it back to back. But whenever he spoke about his credentials, people were offended. It is a British attitude that, but can you do it on a cold, windy night at the Britannia? Can you do it at the Goodison Park? When Ferguson was retiring, there were people who genuinely believed that David Moyes, for what he had done in the Premier League, was a better fit than.
Pep Guardiola.
Let me use an example that even comes home. 2012, when Pep Guardiola was walking away from the Barcelona job, and the word was that his people got in touch with England to see if the job will be available anytime, like in the period when Pep was planning on coming out of his sabbatical.
Mhm.
We saw the British reaction. Who is he? This was someone who had beaten Ferguson twice in the Champions League final and had produced a team that, for all intents and purposes, was the greatest of all time. That is their attitude. They did it to Mourinho. They did it to Pep. They do it to anyone at all who is not English. This week, Alan
Could
Brazil.
we say by extension?
Alan
It
Brazil.
happens also, like the big ones.
That's why I said
It happens in
a
Germany.
certain
it happens
level.
in,
That's why I
in
said a
Spain.
certain level of pessimism is good, because you need to doubt something until someone has, but not in a dismissive manner. This week, Alan Brazil, he interviewed Trustekong on TalkSports, and he went on about the same tangent, and then he, after Trustekong had laid all the credentials from the last AFCON, so he mentioned that over 2 billion impressions, what CAF had done to fix the pitches, and he referenced that all of these things that people used to, based on that,
To
downgrade
discredit the
the
AFCON
AFCON
have been fixed.
have
and
been
yet,
fixed, and that we are looking to build on those. Then Alan Brazil's position changes to, then why are you not hyping the product well? I was like, after what we did in Cote d'Ivoire, I don't think any right-thinking, fair mind will question the publicity the tournament has got. Because this is a continent that has clearly shown that they are prepared to move away from that and add value to it. And we all said this. I mentioned it on Joy Prime around the AFCON time that it looked like CAF and the TV production team were deliberate about selling a different narrative. So all the
Look at the
spiritual
quality
stuff
of our VAR.
Yes.
Even our VAR is
All-
better than yours.
in the past, every AFCON, every national team will have a storyline of spirituality, all of these superstitious beliefs, and you would see it in how the fans portray themselves in the stadiums. This AFCON is perhaps the one time that CAF and the production team were deliberate in making sure that you saw the football and the beautiful fans and not those other excesses.
No, but that is what makes our game.
Thank
they
you.
should show them. It's
But
bad.
I'm saying that so those people have access. Those who go there will give them, those of us here who go to the stadiums will give them prominence. But to the outside world, we are showing them only the things that they cannot question. So when we produce a tournament like that, and then this was a broadcaster, and you see, I always say that I don't care whether you are a journalist or you are an ex-player or you are just a broadcaster, the tenets of the job remain the same.
You have to be informed.
It remains the same.
Every opinion has to be an informed.
It has to be. It remains the same. So for me, that is the poster, and it runs through ex-players, fans, journalists, to
And that
even
is
the voting
and
panel.
that is the reason Daniel's point about what it is and what Carragher was just stating is something that runs through the minds of many people.
No, there is.
That is why it is unacceptable.
Exactly. And you see, for me,
because they're just feeding into a narrative based on history and not based on the reality.
and you see,
And
for
it
me,
is
in
so
order
wrong.
to,
So it might be what it is, but it is the duty of people like him to tell the people what
the
actually
games,
is
exactly.
the reality.
And you see, for me,
And the reality right now
Before
is
you
that
talk
AFCON's
about-
position is way better than what it has been perceived to
Let me
be.
see.
But friends, it
even
is
what you
consistency
said,
that
no,
makes it
just to finish, even what people have the assumed interpretation, because I still don't believe that's what he meant. Because he had the benefit, he had the chance
his
to
intention
clarify himself.
was to rubbish the tournament.
He had the chance to clarify himself. He didn't. He scoffed at it. He scoffed at it again when Storage drew his attention after Micah Richards. He didn't respond when there was the backlash. He only came back 3 days later. This whole idea, and you see, I'll come to this point, but when Euro 2021, right? AFCON 2021 we all remember the video that Ian Rush, he got so upset that he did a video and he started telling all of his colleagues to shut up about asking players whether they will come and play at the AFCON.
Yeah.
Remember that video?
2020,
Oh,
Cameroon,
Look, we can hide behind the Ballon d'Or and all of these things, but these people despise African football.
Exactly.
Some of these things there, because around the same time, the European Championships happened. Nobody asked any European player, are you going to turn up for the
for
tournament?
Your players choose to play for their
Nobody
clubs
did.
at
And
the
so-
expense of their countries, and you expect the people who are running the leagues not to ask
Daniel,
them. You start,
Daniel,
you see.
Daniel, you've had
You
to
see-
say, you just let me
No,
flow.
no,
After
but you-
after
But
that,
Daniel says
But you
that
see,
you can't be.
when I was making my points, you brought some rebuttals. So also allow me to make some rebuttals. Okay. Every AFCON, we have a prominent player from Africa who at least delays his arrival or flat out doesn't show up. We've seen it time and time again. So when you do that, you see human beings are. Coach, let me
that
finish.
used
Coach,
to
let
be
me
the
finish.
case.
Let me
It's no
finish.
longer
Let me
the
finish.
case.
Onana showed up one day. On
No,
the
but
day.
it was in
It
agreement with the Cameroonian Federation.
If you who will show up to a Euros on the day
Look,
and the day before the game.
in the end, when the football starts, we forget about all of those people.
No.
In the- and you
They
see,
are human
here's the
beings.
thing.
If Arteta knows, if Ten Hag knows, if Pep Guardiola knows that he's able to convince his African player to stay, then it means that why wouldn't he ask?
Why would the reporter?
Why wouldn't the reporter also ask you? Why wouldn't Pep ask Kane? Or why wouldn't company ask Kane if he can delay and not go for the Euros? Why is it that when there's an international break, they find it hard to convince the European players not to show up for their countries? But it's easy. We are the cause of this problem. So when we start fixing it ourselves,
Are you done?
you can't just start refreshing or changing
done?
somebody's mind. They have a certain impression
Easy.
because of
Are you
history.
done?
So consistent, it's not are you done? Onana just did this and you are angry that somebody is asking him.
No, you see, wait.
Nimble,
You wait.
in order
Okay.
not to
Nimble,
distort
please.
the hypocrisy of it for me, and you see, nothing will change that, because around that time we had a Copa America, and COVID showed us the true colors of the world, because within 18 months of COVID, we had a Copa America, we had the AFCON, we had the Euros, but the AFCON and its players was the only tournament where journalists made it a point going about asking players, are you going to show up despite the pandemic?
To be fair, wasn't it also the only tournament that was happening mid-season?
Copa America happens
Post-season.
post-season.
Mm.
The
So the players were free already. Nobody needed to ask anybody if they were going
No,
or not.
travel restrictions at the time, it
No.
will impact you when you come back to your club. So it was
if that were to be the case, every European club will stay away from players from Latin America and South America.
no. The after example, what Fent is saying is that
even for
at that
even
point,
for the
remember when you
qualifiers,
come back, you
Look,
have a mandatory
even
what do you call that
quarantine.
even
so
even
they were
for the
asking them,
qualifiers.
"Are you willing to go?"
The question,
Come
why
back.
didn't they ask the other people?
Because when you go, after when they come back, they are going on holiday. They are not coming back to play in the middle of the season. That's why he asked the
yeah,
question.
no,
Wasn't that the only?
Because that was mid-season. Now I'm glad they were free. You can go. After that, you don't need to come and quarantine.
but who
The
gave
quarantine you
Fence?
can do it out.
Friends,
Our people
Friends,
were ready to come
those
and play
were
and go and
friends.
quarantine.
Those were exceptional
No,
circumstances.
no. You just wrap
You
up
see,
for me.
Look, at the end of the day, this idea that this assumed impression that
Okay.
he was basically talking about the capacity of the AFCON to add value to any player
No.
or to boost their chances.
Yeah.
It only has value and it only makes sense if there is a history of high-performing African players who have been in the frame to win it or came close enough
Mhm.
and the AFCON did not give them the push.
That's it.
Look, forget about every other thing that we have said. Yes, there's the consistency, there are power blocks and all of that. I get it and I understand. But the moment you jump from that to now come and say that the AFCON did not give someone the push or cannot give someone a push, you are assuming that there were players who have been in the frame to have won it.
And especially
Or
where
were
this
deserving.
year, there's no AFCON. The AFCON will be, the Ballon d'Or will be decided before even the AFCON.
I would even come
So
to
where
that.
would that, where
And
is
they
that
were
coming?
deserving. And they were deserving. But
Ah.
somehow, the AFCON did not give them the push. In the
No
last
such example exists.
in the last 20 years, which players have won the AFCON, been one of the better players at that tournament, balled out and been one of the best players in Europe, and still been denied the award? Give me one. One. I just want one name.
That's the issue.
One name that will confirm to us that, there is actually a history of
The
players
AFCON
doing
not
well,
adding value.
winning the AFCON, or even doing well at the AFCON, but the AFCON consistently fails them. Whereas for Copa America, for the European Championships, and I'm using those because they are of a similar level, the World Cup is an outlier. What the World Cup can do, it wouldn't do it for any other player.
I mean, that's a brilliant point you make.
Because
and I feel
That's-
like
that is
It
the
is
point.
Is it a
also-
rhetorical
no,
question or you
no.
actually want an answer?
I want an answer. Who are the players?
Okay, let me give you an
No,
example.
just give me names. Who are the
No,
players?
No, so let me give you an
It's-
example.
I don't want. Yes,
Let him
I
give
don't
you
want
an
an explanation.
example.
Just give me the
Okay.
names.
The premise that you've set,
Mhm.
it doesn't happen.
Daniel, give me names. I don't want an explanation.
The premise that you
I
set-
don't want an explanation.
Hold
The
on,
premise
I
you
just want
set
names.
Actually,
with
relax.
the AFCON
Mhm.
thing is unrealistic because when it comes to the Euros, it's not always a comprehensive that the person has balled out everywhere. But when somebody balls out at the Euros, it can propel the person to win a Ballon d'Or. When somebody balls out at a Copa America, it can propel the person to win the Ballon. Messi wouldn't have won the 2021 or 21 Ballon d'Or if he hadn't gone to win the Ballon
Copa.
d'Or. He won the Copa, yes. He won the one. He won the 4-man of the match in a row. He won that thing, and that was it. It pushed him, and he went to win the Ballon d'Or. I'm saying that
So he's saying that you have the argument the other way
the
around.
other way around.
No. You
You are saying I should give you an example
no.
of somebody who ball out in club comprehensively.
No, it's in
go
the
and win the
AFCON.
AFCON.
Who yes,
had
Go
the
and win the
chance?
AFCON
You
and
did-
will not.
You
But
didn't
you're not mentioning
Yeah, and I'm
names.
saying the same thing
You
for
didn't
Messi.
answer
He
the question.
didn't, he didn't necessarily
No.
ball out in
You
that
didn't
season.
answer the question.
But
And
went
you
to
see-
the Copa America,
again,
won
No,
it,
no,
and
he
he won
didn't
the
give you a
Ballon d'Or.
name. Again, he
didn't.
didn't answer. But he
Even that, friends. Again, it is very convenient to use outliers to make that case.
Okay, Sadio Mane.
Mane didn't deserve to win the Ballon d'Or over Karim Benzema.
in 2022.
Are you kidding me?
So,
Are you kidding me?
That's why I made the example.
But
That's why I gave you the-
That's
why I gave you the Messi
But
example.
then, okay, question
That's why I
for
gave
you.
you the
No,
Messi
question for you.
Bro,
Do you think that winning the AFCON that year was what pushed Mane to second? Do you agree that he contributed?
Not necessarily.
So it's just his
So then-
performances in the
then-
Champions League. That was
then
all.
that answers
if it was
that.
just a performance, why
He
not
was
Salah?
Liverpool's best player that season.
Was he?
Yes. second half of the season, he carried Liverpool.
Thank you.
Mm.
So if it was just the AFCON, why not Salah? Because yes, he was Liverpool's best player, but there was no light and day between himself and Salah. So the AFCON was a main point of is what sets the two of them apart, especially because at the AFCON, managers pulled clear of everyone. Like you just could tell that he was operating at a completely different level.
Mane beat Salah in the final. They were
Yeah.
the final is literally what gave Mane player of the tournament.
Man,
Salah
Salah
had
had
won
only
it.
scored
Salah would have
only-
won it. No,
Didn't Mane make the
Salah,
penalty?
that was the one goal
Yeah.
project.
Yeah, that's the- he
Salah
had scored
scored
one.
assisted.
Yeah, but you
assisted
see,
to the final.
you see, beyond the goals, one thing that I remember almost everyone saying is that we do hope if Salah wins this, the best player doesn't go to him and it goes to Mane at that
Yeah, I
point.
mean, Mane was the best
Mane-
player.
Mane-
in that tournament.
So look, for me,
our time is up.
For me, it is important that we, and you see, that's why
Don't do
it's-
NUC. It's important that finish that
it's not even
sentence.
important. It's not even important for us to remind ourselves what the AFCON is and what it has to be. We know it. And clearly, everyone, we are playing our part to add value to the competition.
What is a major tournament?
Let's not
How
give
can
people
you classify a
room to now
continental tournament not
Denigrate
to be a
what,
major
what the
tournament?
tournament
Champ,
is.
It's disrespectful.
Go finish.
Allow
You
people
keep quiet.
to hide behind their own biases
And
to
then
denigrate.
say, no.
Especially, this guy has clearly had it in for Mohamed Salah. Maybe someday we'll get to the bottom of it because it is very rare to see a club, a former player of a club, for whatever reason,
He has it in for everybody.
repeatedly. No, you usually will give a pass to, especially the most prominent player of your club at that moment. I mean, it's almost an unspoken rule that ex-players will not go after them, especially when there
the
is
player is
no
doing this well.
there is no record of any bad behavior or any.
The guy was
misconduct or
dissing
any-
Mane. He was dissing Firmino. Salah has just changed. That's why it's fresh. He was dissing Firmino
No,
that
but
they should clear
you see,
Firmino. He can't score.
you
He
see,
was dissing
see,
Firmino. When
you are
Van
behaving
Dijk
as if we have forgotten how this thing started.
no.
It started with
Liverpool
Salah.
fan.
In order to look fair, he had to extend it. I'm not denying. I'm not saying that. In order for it to
That
look
guy
like,
is
oh,
not
he's just been objective, he extended it to. And when he did it, you could clearly see through that the most consistent target was Mo Salah.
Listen, guys, I don't know what you think, man, but this has been a long argument about the Carragher situation. But I love the perspectives everyone has brought into the conversation. I'm interested in your own thoughts, so leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. So many questions, so many things you can choose and pick and comment on, whether it's namely a nice banter about the numbers influencing the probability of a country winning the AFCON, the World Cup, or whether you think it is a choose point about the AFCON never at any point in history ever contributing to a player's push for Ballon d'Or, or whether it is Danike's argument that the reason the African teams consistently get disrespected because we just haven't shown enough consistency at the world stage. So therefore, we really haven't earned any sort of credit in the bank. And so it is just what it is. Unfortunately, this will keep happening until we start to show that consistency at the world level. So many things. Do you side with Coach Nimli's first point that he agrees with Mikel Obi and that Jamie Carragher
Should
can?
fuck off.
Thank you.
Times 4.
For
Oh, boy, Papa Ben, boy, who are no bag Kasaba hat.
So that's that on this episode. Like, subscribe, share, put the notification bell on. When new episodes go up, you'll be the first to see. Mallam Goal Podcast by Betway. Cheers.